what you would not expect to see is someone like myself, someone from the financial community, someone from a finance ministry. And that's what I think is one of the interesting things about me being here, and one of the things that I would really like to talk about. Peter said that one of the major developments in counterterrorism over the past few years has been increased cooperation between the law enforcement community and the intelligence community. And I agree. I think that's a very important development. I think of equal importance, and one of the real developments over the past 10 years, not only in the area of counterterrorism, but in the area of international security itself, has been the emergence of finance ministries and financial measures as a central component to international security strategy. Today, it is clear that any strategy to address international security, be it a national strategy or a global strategy, is incomplete if it lacks a financial component. That component may not always be the most important and the largest part of the strategy, but for it to be a comprehensive approach to any international security issue, it almost always requires some sort of financial component. And you could just take a look at recent UN Security Council resolutions to prove that point. Security Council resolutions on virtually every international security issue over the past few years have included financial components, be it resolutions relating to terrorism, to weapons proliferation, from resolutions relating to Iran, to North Korea, even the resolution relating to the assassination of former Prime Minister Hariri, all contain financial provisions. Sometimes it's a relatively small part, sometimes it's a large part, but I think what that is a recognition by the international community that a comprehensive strategy requires such provisions. And one of the reasons is, and I think you get a sense of that from a lot of the talk that we heard earlier this morning about what are appropriate responses to threats, in this case to terrorism threats. And when governments or when the international community is thinking about these things, there's, I think, a great thirst for options, something in between dialogue and war. And there's a vast ocean between dialogue on one hand and military options on the other hand. And that's where you want to be in 99% of the international security threats that you face, certainly in the area of terrorism. And that's what financial measures offer. It offers something that you can do to try to counter the threats that we face. And I think that's why you see it emerging more and more. Even in, I was very happy to see in Mr. de Villepin's presentation that he made reference to the Financial Action Task Force, an organization that I'll talk about a little bit later, but it's the premier anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing, standard-setting body in the world. It plays a very important role in international efforts against terrorist financing. And I happen to be the head of the U.S. delegation to that organization. I was quite proud to see that a former prime minister in his address to a group such as this mentions the FATF, and it just goes to show that a previously obscure body has all of a sudden taken on great prominence in the realm of counterterrorism, and that's because it does focus on the financial aspects. Even organizations like the IMF and the World Bank, organizations which just a few years ago would be loath to be associated with the issue of counterterrorism,